everyone, so lovely to see you again. I have another foundation first impressions video for you today. Foundations are my thing at the moment. I am desperately searching for a holy grail. For those of you who are new to my channel and are unfamiliar with my skin type, I do have oily skin. I do have blemishes and various issues that I want to cover up. I'm after something quite weightless and natural looking and just really, you know, a nice looking foundation, which I'm sure is probably all anyone's ever looking for. So the foundation I'll be testing today is one from NARS. Now, I've never actually used anything from NARS. It's one of those brands that I would really like to try stuff from, but I've just never got round to it. I guess in order to actually go and swatch stuff, I'd need to go into one of the bigger department stores, which isn't all that near to me anymore. So I've just never really gone there. It's the All Day Luminous Weightless foundation, and I got it in the shade Mont Blanc. In terms of what they say about the foundation, it sounds lovely. An oil-free foundation that delivers full, natural-looking coverage with one drop for lightweight 16-hour wear. It's supposed to be buildable. It's supposed to have this amazing technology in it. What are you doing? My dog's come over and is now interested in makeup. So yeah, it sounds like a lovely natural looking foundation that's oil free. It does worry me a little bit when they describe things as suitable for lots of different skin types, because I do wonder if that is achievable really. That's a big ask, I think, for it to cover all skin types. What I'm going to do is take my glasses off, obviously. I've got two different things here to apply the foundation with, because I do quite like trying a couple of different ways to apply foundation. Generally speaking, I either use my fingers, a brush or a beauty blender. The brush of choice for me at the moment is the Zoeva 104. I love this brush. I've done a first impressions video on it. It just applies foundation beautifully, and I've used this lots of times, so I'm pretty familiar with how this will perform. Same can be said of the beauty blender. I've used this a lot of times as well, so I know how this performs too. So I think we'll probably do half and half of my face with these. Just need to pin my hair back. I'm going through a experimental phase with my hair at the moment. I'm just trying to respect it a little bit more and just understand my curly hair. I mean, it's only taken, yeah, a few years to do that, but there are stuff that I'm finding out that I just really wish that someone had told me about years ago, because I've struggled with my curly hair for a really long time. Oh, one other thing I meant to mention is I've obviously tried a lot of foundations recently, and I was wondering whether it might be worth filming a video where I talk about all the different ones that I've tried recently, which ones I ended up really liking, which ones I didn't like so much, because as good as first impressions are, I think sometimes after you've used something for like multiple times with maybe different things underneath it, different things on top of it, you can get a really good feel for it, maybe different application methods as well. So comment down below if that's something that you'd like to see, because that is something I'm thinking about filming. So if you are new to my channel, the way I do foundation testing, generally speaking, is my face is obviously freshly washed and moisturised. I never use a primer when I'm doing a foundation test, just purely because I like to see how it will work on its own first, and then if I feel like it's pretty good but may benefit from some primer, then I'll try it with primer. But hey, wouldn't it be amazing to find a foundation where you didn't actually need a primer? So I'm just drying this off a bit because it was a little bit too wet. I'll zoom you in a bit and I'll just talk you through some of the stuff that's going on my face right now, and then we will pop it on. It's not looking too bad at the moment. Don't really have any active breakouts to speak of, which is amazing. I did try a skincare product recently which did break me out quite badly on my chin, but that's all kind of healing at the moment. But in terms of the stuff that's going on, I've got some usual sort of pigmentation issues on my forehead. I have some visible pores. Like I said, I've got that breakout healing on my chin at the moment, but we're pretty much there. And I do suffer generally with my chin area, so that's always quite a tricky one to cover. As you can probably see, the skin starts to get quite crappy around that area. If I do happen to look this way at all, that's where I've got a Mahusive mirror, just so that I can see what's going on properly, because I have now taken my glasses off and the viewfinder's tiny, and yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to do my makeup in that. Let's grab, don't know whether this needs to be shaken up or not, but I'll give it a shake just in case. Don't actually know how runny it is yet. I don't know what the texture is, so we shall see. Some on the back of my hand. I've got a whoa, that's runny. Oh, I'm glad I shook that up now. This is a sample that I've got here because I don't like to go for something unless I'm completely sure. But yeah, that is runny. Look at that. That's a very runny foundation. This is in the shade Mont Blanc. I usually am on the lighter end of the scale when it comes to foundation, and I have pink undertones, I believe it is. But yeah, that's very runny. The colour's not looking too bad. We'll go this side first. God, it's very runny. This is probably the runniest foundation I have tried in a really long time. They've all been more sort of creamy ones lately. I have no idea how much to put on. I'm just conscious of the fact that it said it was highly pigmented, but it said something about 1 drop would be enough, but obviously sample, I don't know. Anyway, let's see how this blends. Wow, it's really effortlessly blending. It's true what they said about how easy it was going to be to blend. I mean, it's just kind of disappeared into my skin. Okay, I think that's all blended. Hopefully you can see a difference. I can see a difference in the viewfinder. This side looks very pale but very evened out, and this side obviously looks quite blotchy still. It's evened out skin tone really nicely, and the redness. I don't know if it's a touch pale actually. Let's have a look up close. Do you know what? I'm actually quite impressed with that. I don't know whether that was too much that I was using or not, but it does seem to have gone on really nicely, and it's covered quite nicely as well. I think I will put a bit more down here because I do tend to bring foundation further down my neck. But yeah, lovely so far. I'm just going to pop a bit more on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to do my neck. Be so careful because it's so runny. It's very water-like actually. Okay. So that's the areas that I would generally cover. Get a bit of a neck comparison. Doesn't look too bad at all actually. It's covered up my pigmentation issues quite well on my forehead. I mean, you can still see I've got quite a dark area here, a dark spot, and I've also got dark spots over this side. I think you can kind of see stuff still peeking through, but I don't mind that too much. I don't want to look completely flawless. I don't mind a little bit of imperfection showing through, but let's just pop some more on my hand and we'll try the Beauty Blender and see if it makes a bit of a difference. I think I'd be a bit worried that the Beauty Blender might soak up a lot of the product just purely because it is so runny, but you don't know until you try. Okay, that's that initial amount all blended out. I don't think it's applied too differently in terms of brush over Beauty Blender, other than the fact that it's probably showing up that the Beauty Blender obviously did shear it out a little bit more. The coverage is a little bit more lightweight because I do seem to be, it's more opaque on this side coverage wise. It's super light. It's kind of exactly what you want in a foundation so far, in terms of it being very lightweight, highly pigmented, good coverage, but it blends like an absolute dream. This is probably one of the nicest foundations I've blended recently. I think I still need to put some down here, but other than that I'm pretty happy with the coverage elsewhere. So I don't know how much more of this sample is left actually. I don't know whether I'm using too much of it. Because you really don't need that much. As I've still got quite a lot on my hand, I may as well use it up. See how well it builds up on top of itself. Is my full face done. It has blended really nicely, and I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference which application method you use, other than the fact that the Beauty Blender does shear it out a little bit more. But I think all in all the coverage is looking pretty similar. It's really made my lips go pale. I think it might be a touch pale. I don't know. I'm going to have to see how this wears, whether it oxidizes at all or anything. Okay, so there we are, back from a distance again. I mean, in the viewfinder the colour does seem to match my neck quite well. In real life I think it is a bit darker. I think it is washing me out a little bit. Typical usual lighting issues. I'm using, you know, the best sunlight that I can find, considering the fact that it's actually supposed to be summer, I believe, even though yesterday I was absolutely freezing. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to pop the rest of my makeup on and I will be back in just a second. Okay, so that's the rest of my makeup done and my hair back down again. One thing I noticed when I was doing the rest of my makeup is it was a bit difficult to blend my blusher over the top of it. It was kind of moving the product around a little bit, which that's not really happened in a really long time with any of the foundations that I've used. So whether it had just dried down too much, I don't know. I think sometimes you need to experiment with things a little bit, but from a first impressions point of view, I don't think the colour has oxidised at all in the time it's taken me to do the rest of my makeup. What I did mean to mention actually is I also got a sample of the loose setting powder from NARS, the translucent crystal one, and I've put that on this side of my face, so this was the brush side. So whether that interfered with the blusher, I don't know, but it does seem to have covered pretty well. I mean, the dryness that I get around the chin does seem to be showing through already, which is a bit disappointing. That is a really tricky area for me to cover, but it feels very lightweight. It has dried down pretty well. Obviously the side which doesn't have the setting powder is still feeling a bit tacky, whereas the side with the setting powder actually feels really smooth. It's a lovely setting powder, so I'll be interested to see how this performs for the rest of the day, because I've literally gone right down the middle of my face with it. And I think you can kind of see that, whether it's showing up particularly well on camera, but this side is definitely a bit more matte. Got a bit of redness peeking through on my nose actually, so what's happened there, I'm not sure. But anyway, I will check in with you at the end of the day for my final thoughts. But for the moment, it seems to look quite nice. Hi everyone, so it is nearly time for me to take my makeup off. Just take my glasses off. I've just had a really good look in the mirror just to see what's going on, and yeah, I just disappointed. At least it's another one to tick off the list, I suppose, in terms of things that I've tried. The side that I set with the translucent crystal setting powder is a lot more smooth, as you'd probably expect it to be, than the side that I didn't, which is a bit tacky feeling still. I am actually pretty oily on this side as well, you know, which I'm kind of used to that, but I had high hopes for that maybe not being the case with this foundation. It's settled into pores quite badly as well, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. And I think it's really worn off in my chin area, which, you know, granted that is a difficult area for me to cover anyway, but it's sort of clung to dry bits and separated a bit, and the coverage is just really diminished. So overall, pretty disappointed, considering it's not actually been on a huge amount of time either. Yeah, this has been on for about 8 hours, which is a bit less than I'd usually have foundation on generally, but I did put it on a bit later today. But yeah, just pretty gutted really. But like I said, at least it's one that I can tick off the list that I've tried, and on to the next one. I will continue to test things and watch other reviews on YouTube and sort of decide from there what to try next. If anyone's got any recommendations for really good coverage foundation for oily skin, then, you know, leave a comment down below. I'm really up for trying anything. Maybe some drugstore foundations. I've not dabbled in anything from the drugstore in a really long time either, so maybe I need to look there. I'm also really tempted by some of the cushion foundations. I've watched a few reviews and I don't think they're probably right for my skin type, but I really want to try one, just so that I can just dip. I probably wouldn't use the sponge, just my own beauty blender. Anyway, that's a whole other video. But anyway, I hope you found this useful. If so, give me a thumbs up down below, I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you again soon, quite possibly with another foundation. Bye! I like the idea that this is a custom blend for you. You send them pictures and they have a look at them, and they take your thoughts on board in terms of what colour you want to ultimately be, and they also look at I suppose your skin tone and your eye colour, and they try and make sure that your aspirations are going to match up with how you actually look and what